Why did Mobutu Sese Seko keep the body of Rwanda's President Habyarimana? Why did Mobutu Sese Seko cremate the body of Juvénal Habyarimana? The former Zairean dictator, known for his secrecy and mysticism, made this decision under extraordinary political pressure. Habyarimana's remains had been hidden in a private mausoleum for 3 years until advancing rebel forces forced Mobutu to dispose of the body in the most discreet and urgent manner possible. The story is a complex tale of power, loyalty, fear, and spiritual symbolism that marked the final days of Mobutu's reign. The rise of a dictator, who was Mobutu Sese Seko. Mobutu Sese Seko ruled Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, with iron authority from 1965 until his ousting in 1997. A former journalist turned army officer, Mobutu seized power in a coup and established a one-party state built on personality cults, corruption, and Cold War allegiances. He amassed vast wealth while the country plunged into poverty. His rule was marked by extravagance, paranoia, and a strategic web of alliances, including one with Rwanda's President Juvénal Habyarimana. The two leaders, both authoritarian and deeply suspicious of Western interference, shared not only political ideology but also personal. This closeness would become a strange and haunting legacy in Mobutu's final chapter, the 1994 assassination that shook a region. On April 6, 1994, a missile shot down a plane carrying Juvénal Habyarimana as it approached Kigali airport. The crash killed Habyarimana and the Burundian President Cyprien Ntaryamira. Both were from the Hutu ethnic group. Their deaths triggered one of the most horrific genocides of the 20th century. More than 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus were slaughtered in just 100 days. While the Rwandan Genocide grabbed global attention, one strange fact remained buried literally. Somehow, Mobutu had secretly acquired Habyarimana's remains and transported them to Gbadolite, his hometown in northern Zaire. There, inside one of his luxurious private residences, he had the remains interred in a private mausoleum. This fact remained unknown to the public for years. Why was Habyarimana's body in Mobutu's house? Why would Mobutu hide Habyarimana's body in his ancestral palace? Several theories exist. First, the two had a strong personal and political bond. Mobutu saw Habyarimana as a trusted ally, especially in regional politics dominated by shifting ethnic alliances. Secondly, Mobutu may have viewed possession of the body as a symbolic way to maintain political influence over Rwanda, or perhaps even to gain supernatural protection. In fact, rumors later emerged that Mobutu had been using the body in Vodou rituals, a belief system prevalent in some Congolese and West African spiritual traditions. While never proven, such allegations reflected Mobutu's mystical image and his deep involvement in symbolic power. The fall of Gbadolite rebels close in by 1997. Mobutu's decades-long rule was collapsing. Laurent Kabila's rebel coalition, backed by Rwanda and Uganda, was advancing quickly toward the capital. Mobutu, aged and ill, retreated to Gbadolite, his fortress-like hometown palace built of pink marble and hidden among the jungles of northern Zaire. But even there, safety was no longer guaranteed. Around this time, Habyarimana's family contacted Mobutu, concerned about the fate of the president's body. Mobutu assured them it would be returned to Rwanda for a proper burial. What he didn't predict was just how quickly the rebels would reach Kinshasa. Realizing his empire was crumbling, Mobutu made secret plans to flee the country and needed to act fast. The rush to remove the body 5 days before Mobutu fled, he quietly ordered the exhumation of Habyarimana's remains from the mausoleum in Gbadolite. A military aircraft was tasked with flying the body to Kinshasa. The goal was to move it before rebel forces captured the region and possibly desecrated the body, something Mobutu feared deeply. But things did not go according to plan. By the time the plane carrying the body landed in Kinshasa, chaos had already engulfed the capital. The airport was virtually abandoned, with staff and government officials having fled. the rebels were nearly at the gates. For 3 days, Habyarimana's body remained inside the plane's cargo hold, unclaimed, unburied, and dangerously exposed. The lone guard and the final decision left behind was a lone presidential guard tasked with watching over the aircraft and the body. He was terrified. As a known member of Mobutu's elite force, he risked execution. If caught by rebel forces, desperate, he tried calling various officials for instructions, but nearly all had disappeared. Finally, those still reachable agreed the body must be cremated, not for religious reasons, but purely for security. With rebels about to seize the airport, there was no time for diplomacy or ceremony. But even in his final hours of power, Mobutu was meticulous. Mobutu's last order, cremate the body sacredly. Mobutu approved the cremation, but insisted it be carried out sacredly. He demanded that the body of his friend be treated with spiritual respect. A Hindu priest was flown in and conducted a private cremation ceremony at dawn, possibly the most surreal and secretive funeral in African history. Mobutu fled the country that same morning. Within days, his regime collapsed. Kabila's forces seized Kinshasa. Mobutu was exiled to Morocco, where he died of prostate cancer just 4 months later. The man who had once ruled the heart of Africa now found himself stateless, friendless, and powerless, leaving behind a mystery forever entwined with another fallen president. Did Mobutu use the body for Vodou? The theory that Mobutu used Habyarimana's body for Vodou or spiritual rituals is impossible to confirm. However, such rumors were widespread in Zaire and among African political circles. Mobutu cultivated an image of invincibility, often linking himself with ancestral spirits and African mysticism. His palace in Gbadolite was filled with religious symbols, charms, and private rooms that only trusted aides could enter. The secrecy surrounding Habyarimana's body, the mausoleum, the refusal to return it, and the sacred cremation only fueled these beliefs. Whether myth or reality, the symbolism was undeniable. Mobutu believed the body held power, and he wasn't willing to let that power fall into enemy hands. Conclusion: a dictator's strange loyalty. So, why did Mobutu cremate the body of Habyarimana? It was an act driven by desperation, loyalty, fear, and a deep belief in the symbolic value of death. As his regime collapsed, Mobutu sought to prevent the humiliation or desecration of his closest ally, even if it meant burning the remains he had secretly guarded for 3 years. In a region where death, memory, and politics are intertwined, Mobutu's decision was more than practical. It was the final chapter in a long and mysterious relationship between two rulers who shaped Central Africa and whose legacies remain buried under layers of power, secrecy, and unresolved questions.